like the best video ever. This is great. We got 25 minutes. We gotta go. What is going on, Say That Nation? Happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy to be back with you guys this week. I missed you guys. Shout outs to everybody who was on last week with an amazing show. We had some amazing guests. I am waiting for my special guest today to hide himself from the camera, so I'm gonna bring him on. Guys, we have an exciting show. There we go. All right, there we go. All right, cool. All right, guys, we got an exciting show lined up for you guys. I hope you guys, if you were watching last month, you saw our Ultra Black series, some amazing guests, some amazing business owners coming, spreading and sharing light on what it looks like to be marketing in the different industries that they are as African Americans. Some amazing content. So if you have not, if this is your first time on, guys, remember to like, subscribe, comment. Make sure, guys, that you are sharing this content with your friends, with your network. And if you were on that series, guys, you know that one of our most exciting guests was a gentleman, a brother from another of Janelle and I. We were in business together for a period of time, sharing and repping a network marketing company. He's gone on to create just so much more of a legacy for his family with his own business. He is a leader, a mentor to many. He and what his wife are doing in their company right now is absolutely amazing. So we thought it'd be best to bring him back on to be our special guest host. Guys, welcome to the show, Keith Gross.
Our next guest.
What's up?
Keith, welcome to the show, man. How are you, brother?
Hey, man, doing great. Nice to be on the show, too.
It's exciting to have you back. Again, Janelle and I want to thank you for being on during our Ultra Black series. Incredibly excited to have you back with us. This time, as a guest host, we're going to be asking some amazing questions. We're going to be bringing up some really, really cool people this whole new month, guys, because we're going into a brand new series. We want to kind of piggyback on what's going on now with the whole March Madness craze, guys. And so all month long of March, if you've been following us on social media, you see that we're starting a brand new series, guys, for the entire month of March called March MLM Madness.
The world is changing faster than ever. What used to take decades is now taking years or even months.
What you see right now is the illusion that people have had for many decades about the workplace being this secure place to work the rest of your life.
For the first time in the history of our nation, our children will not do as well as us.
We've seen our friends get laid off. We've been laid off. We've had our pay cut.
People are overworked and underpaid. They seem to have less time and less freedom. They live under constant pressure.
This is going to be forced. And so even if your employer loves you, they may have to cut you. There's something wrong that on Monday morning, the heart attack rate increases by 35%.
Technology is accelerating, job security is declining. It just doesn't seem like the old models of making a living are as reliable as they used to be.
Every aspect of our lives, there's a better way out there, but we're still doing it the old way.
We live in the greatest country on the planet, and there are a lot of people sitting around complaining and being cynical.
Like everyone's whining about this old model, and I'm like, why don't you leave it? Look at all this over here. Look at all this opportunity.
Since so much of our lives revolve around our work and the way we make our living, many people are thinking there just has to be a better way.
The biggest challenge facing our world today is not making money, is what are we going to do with all the displaced, unemployed people?
People are afraid that they're going to make the wrong decision. People are afraid of the unknown. People are afraid that maybe I don't have the skills.
Hey, sports fans. Industrial Edge is over. It's dead. It's dying.
Woo!
Very powerful.
Guys, I know. Now, guys, that is just a little excerpt from a movie called Rise of the Entrepreneur. It was actually shot years ago by, for many of us who are in the network marketing industry, you know of a gentleman named Eric Worre. It was put out by his production company. Amazing, amazing movie. And Keith, I don't know about you. What's incredible to me is that movie was shot, I think, almost close to 10 years ago at this point, and yet so much of it is relevant to what is going on right now. And it's why we wanted to do this entire month, you know, of network marketing or conversations around that, because what we've been trying to do as a part of this show, guys, is again, not take away from anybody who's doing a traditional business, other entrepreneurs, but just to have people open up their mindset to the idea is there could be another way. And when done right with the right kind of company, you can have some success in this industry. And so it's not going to be just Keith and I. We're definitely going to jump into it, and we have a special guest for the first of this new series. But Keith, give me a drum roll. Let's get that first question going. So today's question, guys, is Bing. Can you create a team without talking to your friends or family?
Yeah.
That one's definitely going to be huge. We actually kind of got into that a little bit with Keith when he was on the show. But guys, again, it's not going to be just us. We have a special brother who's going to be on. Actually, another friend of Janelle's. I got introduced to this brother a couple years ago outside of a church service that we just, I believe he was coming out. We were about to go in. At the time, I think he was just really getting into what he's gone on to do now. And what he's done with his career in this industry is absolutely amazing. Team of hundreds. He's literally leading a movement. And what he shared with Keith and I backstage before you know, we came out about what he's about to do, or actually what he's currently doing in the direct sales you know, arena is absolutely amazing. So guys, it is our pleasure to welcome you to the show, Manny G.
Our next guest.
I know you're there. I know you're there. As soon as he comes on, guys, there he is. Manny, what is going on, brother? When you're ready, there you go.
What's up? What's up, guys? How's it going? How's it going?
Doing incredibly well, man. Excited to have you on the show. All right, so let's get this thing kicked off. We got 25 minutes on the clock. Manny, tell us about yourself. You know, talk to us about, you know, your journey in network marketing to a degree, and then let's jump into this question and let's have a dialogue.
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, happy to be here. Thanks for the invite. Always looking to, you know, just share value, help as many people as possible, learn from, you know, my mistakes, you know, my journey throughout the last few years that I've been doing sales, whether it's direct sales or MLM, networking with other people, building teams in different cities. And so, yeah, so a little bit about what I've been doing over the last few years. You know, so as I was telling you, Winston, earlier, and Keith, you know, I come from a sales background. Even before that, you know, I was in the military, went to college, did all that. And then I got into sales down on Wall Street. I was selling reward systems for POS systems to franchises, retail stores for about 3 years. And then I came across.
Can you explain what that is? Because when you shared with me earlier, it caught my attention. And again, I just want the audience to kind of see, you know, that arc, you know, where you started out and you know, literally where you've now gone. You know, what that's been like for you. So, what are POSs?
Point of sales. So it's basically the register where you make a transaction at a retail store. So what I did was I had devices, my company did, and I was, you know, one of the salespeople. Where we were connected to their POS system, and we would actually track everything that everyone purchased at that store with their phone number, right? To then remarket and retarget those same customers and have them come back to the store with points and incentives and rewards, And so I did that for about 3 years. It was great. I learned a lot. It was mostly over the phone. And I learned how to send emails, how to create CRM systems, how to really communicate effectively to a lot of business owners, and people at the executive level, CEOs and CMOs and COOs, to really bring my product to their company. And then around 2017, this was when I started to get into entrepreneurship a little bit more. I started buying some Bitcoin, started getting into that industry. Eventually, it led into MLM, right?
Okay.
I mean, I know about MLM from many years ago. Was never successful with it. I remember my first MLM, which was 10 years ago.
Okay.
I signed up. I lasted maybe a month, and I signed up 3 people,
Okay.
right? And those 3 were my best friend, my mom, and my dad, right? And they really just did it just to help out and
Help you out.
support.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but then fast forward years later, I got introduced to my second MLM company, and this time I'm coming in with a little bit more experience from direct sales down on Wall Street. So while I saw everyone else doing their thing, which is great, I've seen people grow teams to the thousands. I took the direct sales approach. I pretty much applied everything that I learned in Wall Street. 100 calls a day, 5 meetings a day, follow-up systems, email templates, and pretty much taking the same exact approach, right? Setting quotas for myself every single day. And that's pretty much how I built it on social media, using mostly Facebook.
Wow.
And I'm not sure if you want me to stop there or
No.
keep going to
I
where I'm
kind
at
of
now. But
well, I mean, I love that you're leading into the one side of this, which is, the social media way of building it. This is, I know, something that's huge right now, because a lot of the things that we're taught, again, depending on the type of within MLM, the type of company that you're representing, I think many of them are still taught, if you're doing a product-based side company, there's a lot of, you got to go out and meet a person, right? You got to go in and physically interact with them. And then the side that you're talking from is a lot of it is obviously done online. So you're approaching this from the, online side of it. And then even last time, Keith and I were talking about what it looks like to do marketing. You're hitting the phones, you're calling people. But you're saying you're setting up systems of like 100 people a day. So if we go into the question, can you create a team? I'm assuming these aren't your friends and family that you're reaching out to. So how are you doing that on social media?
yeah, so I pretty much left my friends and family to contact me if they're interested.
Okay.
And I did it by, working so hard, getting at least some results, promoting myself, so that instead of me going to them, they come to me, because we already have obviously friends and family. They know.
Oh, we lost you a little bit there, Manny.
And, and sometimes they know your baggage, they know your failures. And so sometimes they prejudge and they don't really see the vision like you do. And sometimes, depending on your relationship with them, it's, it might be easier for you to overcome that. And I knew that I could eventually, because now I have a lot of my friends and family from, before MLM following me, because they've seen the results over the years and the consistency. That's what they want to see first is, are you serious about it, right? But, because I knew that, I focused on the cold market on Facebook, primarily Facebook, not so much Instagram. And, I pretty much just added a bunch of entrepreneurs from all over the world, people that I liked. I would start conversations with them, not about business, just in general, and really just put my name out there, get to know people personally, and invest, the time into that, just like anyone else would invest into a 9-to-5 job. A lot of times, and I say this because I've seen this and people around me. Sometimes they want it to be so easy, that they expect, these results, but they're putting in this work ethic, they're not willing to put in,
We lost you again, Manny.
Right. And I say a 9-to-5 because there's a lot of principles that we're taught at a 9 to 5 at a regular corporate company. It doesn't matter where you work, that we forget to apply when it comes to our own business, right? And there's a quote where something. So I'm going to paraphrase. It says pretty much like, you know, you should work for yourself harder than you work for your boss, or something like that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of people, without noticing, they're working, for someone else harder than they work for themselves, right? And so I pretty much understood that. So what I did was I dedicated the 8 to 12 hours a day, right, into building, especially in the beginning stages, because that's where the learning curve is. That's where you have to, pretty much what you lack in talent, you have to make up, or what you lack in skill, you have to make up with effort and time and focus and extra, taking the initiative. And so that's what I did. And I was getting leads left and right. I was really on it, right? And then, obviously as the team grew, in a direct sales company, what you have to do when you bring in customers is you have to have your account executive team pretty much manage those accounts, right? So, so I started taking on a role also of, managing my clients, right? My customers, my team, and not just so much focused on signing customers up all the time, but really catering and watering, the grass that I now have, right? And then working on duplication, working on tap routing, working on teaching them the skill set also. And because I brought in a lot of people that already had the skill sets, because I was primarily focused on not just the cold market, but my niche was entrepreneurs, right? I wanted to talk to entrepreneurs, right? No one else, right? So there was no skepticism, there was no questioning anything, because I'm talking to entrepreneurs. They already know what this is about, right? So it's a much easier conversation. And so bringing on board those people was also easy to train and pretty much show the system so that they can take off. And a lot of them, took off, even without me.
So, Manny,
yeah.
so real quick,
Any questions about that?
So real quick, how did you establish those relationships? Because you said these are all knew who they were.
Hear you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Can you hear us?
Let me see if it's my system.
Okay. You hear us?
Can you hear me, Manny?
No, he's switching his headphones out.
Okay.
This is some good stuff, guys. Drop a fire in the emoji in the chat if you guys are loving what Manny's sharing so far. There's so many nuggets. As soon as we get him back on, guys, I know Keith is gonna go in. And I definitely got a lot. I mean, so just
I've got a bunch of stuff in comments. Oh man,
I know.
Manny, can you hear us?
There we go.
Good to go.
All right. Man, comments are blowing up right now. But just real quick, I wanted to just ask you, like, your frequency. Like, what did you do to establish relationships? Because, entrepreneurs tend to do business with people they trust. They have to have trust to move forward. So, like, what was your frequency like in your communication with them?
Okay, so, yeah, I think I'm having technical difficulties here because I hear you, but I cannot make out the words.
Okay. Winston, you want to speak in here? You can hear you. I don't know if it's me or not.
Can you hear me, Manny?
Okay, so I hear you again, but it sounds like a cartoon. I thought that was on purpose at first. But,
No.
and I realized it's not. So
no. Hold on. Try coming out again, Manny, and come back on one more time.
Okay. All right. I think I've made you out there. Hold on. Let me. All
right, cool. Don't worry, guys. We're gonna get him right back for you guys. Guys, if you guys have any questions so far, Keith already has a lot of them lined up. But if you got questions for Manny, throw them in the chat right now. So when he does get on, we will have him answer those directly for you guys. How's that, Manny?
All right, perfect. We're good to go.
All right, Manny. Just wanted to just follow up with your frequency, like building trust. Like, how often were you hitting specific individuals or the whole group to gain that trust so that they would go out and get that work done? What'd that look like?
So trust is built with consistency. So, a lot of times, I tell my team this all the time, and even in direct sales, you should expect people in the beginning stages to not be as interested and to be a little skeptical. That's normal. Most people, unfortunately, they give up, on the first, no, or on the first, resistance. But if you're following up, if you're persistent, if you're consistent, people are going to realize, like, okay, so this guy, and it's not so much about, just talking about business all the time. You don't want to make it a transaction. You really want to build a relationship, with the person, right? So, and it starts from the very beginning, based on the photos you're looking at on Instagram or Facebook. Like, is there something relatable that you can talk about, something that you genuinely, appreciate about the person, and maybe start there. And then everything just falls into place after that. Just got to be genuine, consistent, and you got to be the leader that they're looking for. So basically, you got to be an example. You got to show that you're about your business, and you got to show that you're really going places. There's a vision. And they might want to hop on board. And as long as you're communicating that, over time, the trust gets built. But there's people that you're going to have to let go, right? Because there's competition out there. There's competition in their thoughts, right? They're thinking something else, and you don't know what that is all the time. Even if you might ask them, like, hey, so are there any, concerns or setbacks, or, what direction do you want to go in? And sometimes they're battling, a battle in their own head, right? They're not sure, whether to take that leap with you. And, sometimes we have to, let go so that we can make space and time for other people that are ready, you know. And, a lot of times those people, they come back. I've had people that I talk to, for, a few times in the beginning stages, come back to me 6 months later, a year later, even 2 years later, and tell me, hey, man, I've been following you for a year, 2 years, and, I'm pretty much, ready to go. Just show me the ropes, So everyone has their own timeline as to when they trust you enough to, pretty much follow you. But your job is, pretty much to, focus on, sales is a numbers game, but at the same time, don't make it transactional. But also, you got to focus on talking to new people if you're building a business. It's just like any other business. You got to find customers.
Yep. Cool, man. That's really great stuff. Walk us back through. You talked about making 100 cold calls. I mean, I've never made 100 calls, for whatever reason, but I haven't. It's something we're working on with our assistant in the office right now, just making those calls. Like, what's that? How do we break through to get from maybe a person made 25 calls and got rejected? How do you break through to 100 calls, no attachments to it?
Yeah. So I remember we used to have competitions at the office. And we would just, every time somebody did 100 and something, and not all these calls, people picked up and we had a full on conversation. 100 dials is really what we're looking for. And out of that, percentage picks up the phone. Out of the percentage that picks up the phone, we're able to get the decision maker, right? And then from those calls, we're able to set up a meeting. And then from those meetings, we're able to set up a sale. But on Facebook, I never like cold called somebody. You know how on Facebook Messenger, they allow you to like just call people. I never did that. Okay. Whenever somebody would do that to me, I would pick up. But what I did do was I was just send 100 messages, right, and see who answered back, right, and I was just sometimes I would be creative with it. At first, I would just send, hey, what's up, which was pretty effective, right? Just to see who responds back. And for some people, they might not want to do that, but hey, it started the conversation. It'd be like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, all right, cool. So, and then I'll just start it off that way. Sometimes I would try and be creative and, send them a quote, right? Different quote, for different people. Just to, hey, just some couple words of encouragement. I see you're killing it doing your thing. Hope all is well. right, and move on to the next person. Sometimes for holidays, I would, take advantage of, a holiday, for like the day before and the day after, like maybe the entire week, depending on the holiday. Especially around Christmas season, I would send out a whole bunch of, hey, Merry Christmas, or hey, Happy New Year, or hey, this and that. Birthdays, right? It's a good excuse, for you to reach out to people as well. Happy birthday, hope all is well, enjoy your week. And I, and it takes time, it takes effort, right? But like I said, this is no different than, you work in a 9 to 5 job, but now you're working for yourself. And if you apply the same focus, same amount of hours, same amount of effort, right, into this, right? Because I ask my team all the time. I was like, hey, if I paid you a full-time salary, say I paid you 25 bucks an hour, right, to do this every single day for 8 hours a day. Some of you guys would ask for overtime. You would have no problem, right, sitting in front of your computer, getting paid 25 bucks an hour every day for 8 hours a day, right? Making 200 bucks a day, $1,000 a week. You would have no problem for that. But you do when it comes down to building your own business, right? And I get other people have, people have jobs and other responsibilities, but like Gary Vaynerchuk says, you should have a 9 to 5, and then from like 6 to like 2 in the morning, you should be grinding for yourself, for your own business, right? A 5 to 9, right? And so yeah, that's pretty much what I did every single day. It was just, and the goal was 100. The goal was to schedule 5 meetings, and close, one deal per day. It got to the point where, there were days where I would close 2, 3 deals in one day.
Nice.
Inbound leads would come in, and I would just see a random email, somebody signed up, and it's because the pipeline was so big, my funnel was so big, right? Because I was putting in the hours, and the effort and the time and all that, for so long, for months. That all compounded to the point where in the beginning stages, it's obviously going to be slow, but then, eventually, you're going to see the compound work in your favor, and you're going to be getting crazy results.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's go to a quick question in the chat. So it says, have you dealt with rejection in sharing your business? And if so, how have you worked through it?
Yeah, rejection is perspective. Sometimes I feel like, okay, you reject me because you're going through something yourself, and I respect that. So maybe next time we'll talk, I wouldn't say that, right? But I would think that, because, you got to be confident in what you offer. If you were offering somebody, something that, any of us would be like, hell yeah, for, and they said no. Like, for example, if I was offering you a Lamborghini for, $20,000, right? And you said no to me, I'd be like, really? Okay, cool. Moving on. So something's wrong there, because it's a Lamborghini, it's worth a lot more. So that was the mindset, I had, the entire time. And you got to let go, right? You got to, let people be very quick in this business and sales, to, make space. I think it was the documentary with Kobe Bryant. I think it was the documentary with Kobe Bryant on Netflix, where he talked about how if you missed a shot, you're trained to forget about that, right? And keep moving forward, right? Because if you dwell on that shot, then it's going to affect your next one, right? And the same thing in sales. If you get rejected, if you feel, hurt by somebody saying no to you, or not interested, or maybe shooting down your opportunity or something like that, if you let it affect you, and you're talking to somebody else, that it's gonna show, right? And it's gonna affect, that sale. So, I think it's very important to understand that rejection is part of life, is part of business, is part of sales, especially in MLM. And you just have to, go in there, confident about yourself, your team, your product, and what you have to offer, to the point where if somebody doesn't want it, then, they have a problem, not you, yeah.
Just for the audience, Manny, I just want to share with the folks out here listening. We're not just talking to a guy in an MLM or built one that, small time. Manny has gone, hundreds, let's say thousands of people in the team. So when you hear him speak, he's speaking from a level of someone that actually did it. But Manny, what I'm interested in, you kind of change gears. Talk to the folks about what you're currently doing now, that kind of taking all those skills and moving it over.
Yeah, so still surrounded around sales, and now, we've taken a more traditional approach, meaning, basically it's direct sales. So I built, a marketing company, and we represent, several clients, and we all fall under the FCC, right, the federal government. And pretty much Congress funded the FCC with many billions of dollars, $14 billion, to pretty much give out tablets and free phones and free internet services to people across the country. It's federal. And it's been around for a long time, especially with the phones. Some of you guys know about Lifeline. It's been around for about 10 years. The ACP program has been around since last summer. And um, what pushed it was the pandemic, right? So they realized a lot of people going to school from home, working from home. We couldn't really connect. Not everyone has, believe it or not, in the United States, uh, smart devices, um, internet access. And a lot of college students don't either. So they pretty much created this program, and myself as a vendor created my own marketing company, working under the FCC. It's our job to market and supplies and increase the awareness and set up events with the community federally across different states. Right now, I'm primarily working on the East Coast, to pretty much connect with hospitals and clinics and schools and the Board of Education and churches, and community centers, senior centers, the Housing Authority department, to pretty much set up events with them. So my job is to, I hire agents, similar to an insurance sales agent or a real estate sales agent, very similar to that. We train them, we connect them, we send them leads, we teach them how to find leads, and pretty much, set up events with these businesses, which is a lot easier than most people think, and qualify people for tablets and phones. That's what we do.
Wow.
Man, that is good. That is good. All right, guys. So we're getting to that time. We are almost out of here. So Manny, I want to throw something to you before we jump into overtime. Because something that really caught my attention is when you talked about one going the route of going after coal market. And I love this strategy because a lot of us have heard this at different trainings. And the one thing they've always shared is that if you do coal market, the numbers are changing. So if you were doing, I guess, when you're warm market, you're more or less likely to get, if you invite, 10, maybe whatever, 5, 3, that kind of thing. With coal market, they've always kind of said that you're looking at now 20 to 30 people having to be reached out to get that same 5 who hit you back, and so on and so on. So I love that when you go that strategy, it made sense because you were willing to put in that effort and that time. But what I really want to get into in overtime is, what does it look like now to target, in a sense, entrepreneurs? Where are people, where were you, looking for people like that? How does that conversation go? What did that look like? Because many of us, that's really what it is. When you get people in your business, you are looking for professionals who, if they take it seriously, can really grow you a massive team and keep a sustained income. So I want you to think about that as we jump into overtime. Guys, if you got any value from what Manny had to share, please drop some fire, hearts, whatever you guys want in the comments below. We're going to take this conversation over to overtime. So for all my Patreon community members, you guys know where you guys are going. We're going to be there live. We're going to have Manny with us. We're going to have Keith back with us, guys. We're going to be taping this conversation going forward. Thank you guys for joining us. You saw where he's at. Hit him up on Instagram at Manny G underscore official. You can get a 15-minute consultation. I actually saw that right on his Instagram. So hit Manny up there. Manny, again, thank you for being with us, brother. And to everybody, as always, remember, you deserve
good luck.
All right, guys. So we'll see you guys next Wednesday.